right in time for Eco's Diary, a show that focuses on environment, definitely providing solutions to different environmental problems, including climate change. My name is Aida Munzati. Be free to be part of today's conversation as we focus on different matters, that is understanding what exactly climate change is. We will also look at a special feature that is on matters to do with the plastic bottle pollution, and finally we will be looking at the forest challenge. So be part of today's show. Remember, you can do that by sending in an SMS via our SMS number, that is 0111 220044, and on Facebook as well as YouTube, that's CAC TV Kenya. Now, country leaders, stakeholders, and generally the masses are calling it the crisis of our time. Yes, it is the crisis of our time, that is climate change. However, it is very easy to get absorbed in understanding climate change. The science, politics, you can name them all, might be so intense in defining what exactly this crisis is. We have seen global leaders meet to try and slow down the effects of climate change. But what exactly is climate change? Dr. Joram Kagombe helps us understand climate change before we look at its effects and how they can be sustainably solved.
When we talk of climate change, most of the climate change effects have been done is because of the human intervention. Because over time, humans have overexploited the resource. You find that there are many forests those days, but because of the increasing population, you find people now cutting forests. They convert them into settlement, they convert them into agriculture, they convert them into doing livestock, and this livestock is also producing gases like methane. Every time when you are converting, you are reducing, you are emitting the carbon. And then we have fossil fuels, especially the petrol. So you can imagine the number of vehicles which are there in the world. There are many industries which are all emitting carbon. And then when they emit, it affects the equilibrium which God intended. And so, in essence, what are we talking when we are talking of climate change? The climate change is mainly due to the issues of the what we call the greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are carbon, methane, and the like. When we emit so much of it, it affects the God in his own ways. He had created a blanket called ozone layer, which is up there. And this blanket, what it does, when the sun rays come from the sun, they hit the ground and they are reflected back. This blanket is the one that retains this heat. And when it retains the heat, it makes the earth reasonably warm, otherwise it will be very cold. So this blanket, when we emit a lot of carbon and methane, it is attracted in this blanket, it becomes heavier, and then it leads to the temperature now increasing. And once the temperature increases, it has a lot of consequences. Because one, it will lead to the melting of the glaciers, which are in the Arctic and the other places. When the glaciers melt, the water levels in the ocean increase. And so you can get to some places which are now settled, like places like Denmark, when people are settled near the ocean, there will be no settlement. Even in Kenya, we have seen this. Places like Nakuru, Lake Bogoria, the last 2 years, the water levels have gone up to a point that some of the offices of Kenya Wildlife Services have been submerged. These are things we have not seen in this country, but we are seeing it now. So in essence, what all the parties, various nations in the world, they went to an argument which is called Paris Agreement, where they agreed that they will work towards reducing the temperature rise to 1.5. And then they came up with intervention, what they will do. Each country came with what we call nationally determined contribution, what they said that they will do to reduce this. And Kenya, we have been working on it, and this is a thing that needs to be worked by the whole global community.
Now, having understood what climate change is exactly, let us now expound further to its effects and what exactly can be done to slow them down. Now, President William Ruto has asked Africa to make concerted efforts to win the war on climate change. He said the continent is disproportionately affected by its adverse impacts. He noted that institutional reconfiguration and economic resets emanating from this change will install Africa as the world's green economic superpower.
It is evident that Africa is by far the least polluting continent, yet it is by far the most adversely affected by climate change. Statistics showing the totality of industrial and economic activity from all of Africa's economies contributes less than 5% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. Gas emissions are the cause of dangerous rise in global temperatures, which result in the extinction of plant and animal species, rise in sea level, disruption in climatic patterns, drought, among other effects. Speaking during the third regional symposium on greening judiciaries in Africa, President William Ruto emphasized the need to have an adequate allocation of funds in the fight to combat climate change.
We are not saying we want an international financial system that is favorable to Africa. No. We want an international financial system that is fair to everybody. Having a fair international financial system is not asking for too much. I think it's just asking for what is fair.
President Ruto noted that Kenya, alongside the African Union, is committed to play its role in liberating its people from the effects of climate change, but cannot be achieved if there is no monetary support.
Whether we like it or not, we share this globe. And if today anybody imagines that climate change is affecting the global south more than the global north, it won't be for long. Shortly, we will all either float or sink.
According to the president, enough funds will fast-track the provision of resources.
Protocols
According to the president, the government is working with other relevant ministries and departments to ensure that they align with the strategies put in place to realize the green agenda.
I am highly encouraged to note the depth of thought in your appreciation of the existential magnitude of climate change and of the imperative for urgent action by all stakeholders anchored on common institutional coordination.
Among the initiatives incorporated in the Green Agenda is the National Tree Planting Drive launched in December 2022, which aims to grow 15 billion trees by the year 2032. The head of state further invited the judiciary to the climate change table, noting that they too have a crucial role to ensure that the installed framework is adhered to by all stakeholders.
Strengthening the role of judiciaries in addressing climate change in Africa, which is the theme of this symposium, is highly appropriate And it is also of fundamental significance to our collective readiness to take up global leadership in post-transition economic and industrial order, and thus usher the world into a future of green, clean, and inclusive prosperity.
The involvement of judicial officers and institutions are key actors in the fight against climate change in Africa, and the President has urged them to take leading roles in efforts to address the change.
Now, among pollutants of the environment are plastic bottles. The problem with plastic bottles just got more complicated, and so did the effort to stop its flow into the world's water bodies. In this special feature, we understand how plastic bottles get into our rivers, seas, lakes, and lastly into our oceans, ending up posing a threat to the environment and its ecosystem. Let's listen and learn. Plastic pollution in rivers, ocean, and other bodies of water continue to grow sharply and could more than double by the year 2030. This is according to a report released by the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP. UNEP terms Kenya as an emerging leader in the fight against plastic pollution. This comes after Kenya became among the first countries in East Africa to limit single-use plastics and signed the Clean Seas Initiative to rid waterways of plastic waste. Like many countries, Kenya has long struggled with plastic waste, which spills into rivers, lakes, then straight to the Indian Ocean. A lot still needs to be done to completely ban the use of plastic bottles to save the water bodies. Every minute, not just in Kenya, but worldwide, there is someone somewhere opening a plastic bottle and using it. The question is, how do you dispose the plastic bottle after consuming what was inside? The truth is that you could be one amongst millions of people in the world who pollute the environment, rivers included, by using plastic bottles. According to research by UNEP in Kenya, 3.7 kilos of plastic per capita leach into bodies of water annually. After banning the use of plastic bags in Kenya, the next step in the year 2019 was to ban plastic bottles, an initiative that has not bore fruits yet.
But if they don't come on board, I think we'll have no alternative but to continue and ban plastic bottles, because there's no point of doing one thing and then the other is still remaining untouched, and it is causing similar problem in terms of blockages, ISO, and all that.
The National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, however, still has plans to completely ban the use of single-use plastic bottles. As evident, rivers, lakes, and oceans are most vulnerable to plastic bottles. Once plastic enters the water bodies, it has no boundaries. Waves and storms can carry plastics to even the farthest reaches of the ocean. After some months, the plastic then breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces, battered by waves and storms, eventually to sizes smaller than a grain of sand. This makes retrieving plastics from the ocean extremely difficult, almost impossible. Aquatic animals are some of the most affected species from plastic contamination. Millions of aquatic animals die yearly directly from plastic. Animals often confuse plastic bottles and specifically bottle caps for food and eat them. This leads to serious health problems for the animals, often damaging their digestive system. Additionally, many smaller animals get trapped inside plastic bottles, preventing them from getting food and leading to their death. On land and water, plastic bottles break down into small fragments over time. These pieces contain very harmful chemicals. When plastic fragments finally disintegrate, the toxins are released in high concentrations that can kill microorganisms in soil and water. These impacts damage the natural ecosystems that we as human beings rely on. Plastic bottles waste creates direct negative consequences for us. Not only do plastic bottles look unsightly, but they pose a serious health risk. Just like for plants and microorganisms, toxins released from plastics are harmful for the human health. With a complete ban of plastic bottles being a more sustainable solution to plastic pollution, recycled plastic bottles is also a good way to help reduce the negative impacts of plastic bottles. But the absolute best way is to stop using them completely. Identifying and measuring the impact of plastic bottles to the ecosystem is key to managing them and providing a sustainable solution. It is with no doubt that plastic bottles are a threat to the environment. It is therefore everyone's responsibility to take action, save the environment and save the future. It is a personal responsibility, the responsibility of the government and policymakers, and that of plastic bottles manufacturers to take action. As we've heard, the permanent solution will be a complete ban of the use of plastic bottles. Well, indeed, we need joint efforts to find sustainable solutions to plastic bottles, just the way we were able to ban the use of plastic bags in the country. And now let us get into a more physical and practical item, the Forest Challenge. I'm not so sure whether you have heard of it or have been part of it, but it's a very exciting activity with an aim of conserving the environment. Now that's what I will be leaving you with. I'm sure you will be entertained as well as educated, but most importantly, please heed to the tree planting advice. Well, this has been Eco's Diary. I've been your host, Aida Munzati. Until next time, let's continue protecting Mother Nature.
Happy to good train. Higher. One more time. So we go like this. 1, 2, again. Up, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm super excited about today's challenge. That is at the Kenya Forest Challenge 2022, where a number of teams as well as stakeholders from various sectors in the country have just come together to help in raising funds to help rehabilitate forests that are in Kenya. So the main activity, or just the main agenda, is to help in raising awareness as far as our environmental conservation is concerned. And the Kenya Forest Challenge 2022 comes at a very right time, especially with the Kenya Kwanza's agenda, that is to plant 15 billion trees by 2032.
Under our program on managing climate change, we will ensure that we build our 15 billion tree cover to be planted around the country.
We have been supporting restoration of degraded public forests, and this is one of the initiatives that has been supporting the Kenya Forest Service for this. So we are actually, in terms of the number of trees that we have been able to plant so far, are 30,000 from the editions that we have had earlier, that is the 8 editions. And we hope that from this particular Forest Challenge 2023, we can be able to have more trees.
7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2 more, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
So definitely this particular challenge will play a very key role in boosting the tree planting. So as you can see behind me, the teams are just being flagged off to the forest, and we'll just be getting to see of what exactly will be happening in the forest. So they'll be participating in a number of activities, a number of challenges, definitely to have fun, but the most important thing is to raise awareness about environmental conservation. So this is the first challenge that the team is going through. It's just known as the pedal walk, where this particular challenge is just trying to gauge that is the coordination as well as the teamwork of the various team members. As you can see, that's exactly what is happening here. And definitely with the issues of environmental conservation as well as tree planting, definitely it needs a team or a just joint effort so that the environment is being able to be conserved as well as planting trees. For with one person, definitely the tree plantation agenda cannot go through, but definitely as a team, that is the tree planting agenda will definitely go through. So definitely that is with the issues of climate change. We've seen various areas of the country just being affected by drought, among other climate change effects, and definitely with the funds, as we just mentioned earlier, with the funds that are going to be just raised through this challenge, definitely trees are going to be planted, and that is going to increase the tree cover of Kenya as well as the forest cover. So we'll keep on just following that is the teams step by step to get to understand of what exactly they are doing and how each step helps to conserving the environment.
The issue about forest restoration is not an issue that can be done by one institution. That is the reason why we have our partnerships. And government is part of the process, and that is why we involve them right from the beginning.
Well, definitely the second challenge that we just saw was the crawl wave. And right here, this is the third challenge, that is the tire lift challenge. Definitely the team is still working together to just help in going through the all steps. I'm being told that the entire steps are actually 11, and the team is actually supposed to cover almost 10 kilometers. But let us put that aside. Let me just try and explain to you of how exactly the environment right here looks like. As you can see, I'm putting on a jacket. You can see that it's sunny, but it's quite cold despite it being sunny. Definitely it's due to the trees. And just telling you that the environment right here is very, very peaceful and very fresh. And that tells you that if we are part of the tree planting agenda, you as an individual, if you plant 1 tree, 2 trees, or even 100 trees, that tells you of how fresh and just environmental friendly Kenya will be. And definitely we will be helping in tackling the climate effect. Now definitely, just taking of the environment, it needs a sacrifice. As you can hear, I'm already panting, but that does not mean that we give up. Eyes are still on the prize for the sake of just conserving the environment, taking care of the environment, and definitely saving the planet, just saving the world. So this is referred to as the Dark Tunnel Challenge, where there is no standing straight. You have to just to bend and crawl until the end of it. Remember, we are doing this for the sake of environmental conservation awareness, as well as just rehabilitating the forest. So that is that the different stakeholders are just coming together to help in raising funds so that they are able to just get seedlings to help in rehabilitating the forest as well as trees.
Bambu mrefu pale anashika anavuta.
Well, we are now at challenge number 6. It is referred to as the Slippery Ascent Challenge. We still have 6 more challenges to go. As I had mentioned earlier, truly conserving the environment or just taking care of the environment as well as tackling the climate change effect requires sacrifice. And that's exactly what the team behind me is doing. They're sacrificing everything just to contribute to conserving the environment. Definitely, this is not just helping on issues to do with conserving the environment, but for the few kilometers that we've come, I'll say that it has also helped us, that is just in maintaining our health physically and as well as mentally. So we still have 6 more challenges to go, as I mentioned, and we'll still just keep you up to date on informing you and just updating you on what exactly is happening so that you also feel and be part of this Kenya Forest Challenge.
Hiyo bambu mrefu pale anashika anavuta.
Okay, the challenge has been nice and interesting for us. So we came here to participate and have fun. That is what we are doing. While at the same time, we are trying to make sure that people understand that conservation is about having fun and incorporating everybody in the society. So that is what we are doing. That is why Team Guava is so energetic about this. Yeah.
So what was the very challenging part for you guys?
The part where we had to pull one of our team member. Mapera. So where we had to pull one of our team member, that is me. So obviously I'm heavy. So the girls had to struggle. They almost gave up, but they didn't. Nandi wakanipea morale. We are doing this to the end. Yeah. Yes.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mapera, Mapera ria. Imeenda.
Imeenda hiyo. Plus wait.
Mapera Global. Nasaidiwa wapi?
Songeni hivi kidogo mbele ya poli.
Wanadada.
Kidogo.
Well, it is still the Kenya Forest Challenge. We have definitely come from a very, very long way, having only a few challenges remaining. We are now headed to the Gani Sack Challenge, and there is already a team right there. But you can imagine how this team has definitely worked together, pulled every string together just to enable that they are helping in creating awareness about environmental conservation. You at home, you can imagine if you join such a team. You can imagine if you come together as a community. You can imagine as you come together as a society, as stakeholders, as company. You can only imagine the best and the greatest things that you can do as far as environmental conservation is concerned. Let us put those that have been affected by drought in mind, those that do not have food to eat, those that do not have water to drink. When we are doing the Kenya Forest Challenge, we are doing it for them. We are doing it so that we plant trees to conserve the environment and kick drought away. Well, definitely, the reward is not always great without a struggle. And that's exactly what the team has gone through to be able to get the reward, which is just conserving the environment. And definitely, as you can see, I have no more energy. But lucky enough, it is the last challenge. That is the water leak, where the individuals are just trying to fetch water with their hands and try as much as possible to fill a particular can. And it just shows of how step-by-step environmental conservation is, and how the environmental conservation still needs teamwork to be able to work. It was a great challenge, but the most important thing is just creating awareness about environmental conservation, just to help in dealing with the climate change effects. So being the last stage, we now head over to just a number of speeches from the different individuals that have been invited, as well as the tree planting activity, which is also one of the most important things. Definitely, after going through the entire challenges, the most important thing is now planting the trees, just to be able to contribute to the government's agenda of planting 15 billion trees. Just share with us now the importance of conserving the environment, and even the reason as to why you came to participate in the challenge.
My name is Steven Moema Kioko from Base Titanium. The conservation of the forest is very important to our environment. That's why we decided and took part in this event, for us to show we support it. So for us, being the winners, we are very happy. We just encourage all people all over in the world. They just plant trees. It's normal. It's nature. It makes the like our country beautiful. So we are very happy as the winners. We are very happy. We are very proud. This, I don't know how to explain it, but we are very happy as a team.
Well, this marks the end of the Kenya Forest Challenge, but the beginning of environmental conservation. Every individual that you can see behind me means that each and every person has been able to plant a tree, that is to conserve the environment, as well as just trying to raise funds to try and create awareness about environmental conservation, that is by rehabilitating the Kenya's forest, as well as increasing the tree cover. This goes hand in hand, as I had just mentioned earlier on, in regards to the government's agenda, that is planting at least 5 billion trees, that is by 2027. And every individual, every company that has been represented here today has actually played quite a key role in increasing Kenya's tree cover, that is to 30%, according to the government's plea. That is all we had for you from the Kenya Forest Challenge. My name is Aida Muzati, and on behalf of my camera person, that is Winnie Jepkoech, we say keep conserving the environment.